all set up. 4.5 inch die. I've marked off 143mm from the end. This die, it doesn't actually start putting a bend into it until 5mm after the mark on the follower. So it's going to give me a little bit extra, which I need anyway, just for the coping. Give that some preload. Are we on 0? Not quite. Come on. 0. Right, so we are going up to 30 degrees. There we go. From there. Right, that should be 30 degrees. So let's have that out. We'll check it and see where we go from there. Right, this is the only time I ever use these flappy jobbies. It's just the old knackered ones have got like a bit of a curve to them where you worn them out. It just means you can sort of get into like little bends and stuff. I know he uses these all the time for everything. I just can't get on with it. I end up putting notches into it for some reason. I don't know why. He's just better with them than I am. Right, let's, I've marked out roughly where I think we need to be. Are you going to be all right there? No. All I'm going to do is nibble away at it, keep offering it up until I get the notch that I want, basically, because it's an awkward one, this. Right, I'm having troubles getting that coping, purely because I can't get the tube close enough in to where it runs down between the two exhaust ports. So I can't get it lined up right because the end of the tube is boshing on the bottom of the frame jig. So I'm gonna have to put that little kink in it. What did we say? 5 degrees. I'm gonna have to put that little kink into it. Come on. See if we clear that frame tube then, because then I can offer it up and see, are we good or are we not? Let's just make sure this is going the right way. So that's at the top. Comes out, it's going that way. So it needs to bend that way. That's right. I've done that before. Right, so we'll stick him on there. Let's take. Right, so there's my reference. Stick him on my little jig thing. Set him to 0. Come on. .05. 5 degrees. It's even bloody worth it. Right, I've got a very dodgy cope up here. There are a couple of little gaps in it, but I don't mind that. It just means I can get some welding. So we're dropping that down a little bit so I can get the 10mm that I'm looking to come in front of this. So he is going to go about like that-ish. And now I've put this little kink in, I can get outside the frame rails. It looks, but I'm not going to know until it's all tacked up and I'll stick some headers and stuff in there as well. Looks like we're clearing the 2 exhaust ports. Looks like we're smack in the middle of that. But because this is now 7 degrees, I've gone 7 degrees on this little kink, not 5. Because I want to pull it out because we're obviously on wider tube as well. So because I've angled it 7 degrees that way, when I come to put this bend in here, I'm going to need to clock it like that by 7 degrees and then put my bend in to have it come straight down the side of the bike. So I'm going to go and mark all that up and get that done. It's not Mrs. Woman, it's Jack with his pressure washer. It sounds like it's going to die any minute. I'm just writing down everything that I'm doing on the tube in the place that I'm doing it. So where are we next? There we want 160 from the end of that bend. Puts us there. I'll find if you just hold a square hard up against it, or use a piece of angle or U-section or something like that, so you've got 2 points of contact, then you can kind of translate the mark if you need to, which in this case I think would be a good idea. Right then, that's wrong. I've completely cocked that one up there. I clocked it the wrong way. Awesome! Oh, where did I go wrong there? Please be right, please be right, please be right. Is that right? Yes. Couple of things you will notice, I've shoved that block. It was up here, but I've shoved it over there now. Reason being is to get all my degrees and stuff, I'm using this sort of digital jobby. Thing is, with that block on this end, I started off with it that end because that's closest to the machine, so there's no flex and all that sort of stuff, so you get an accurate reading. But as the tube is working its way through, you know, I'm getting more and more flex at that end. Plus, if he's on that end and I'm clocking it and twisting it and doing all sorts of stuff, then that block is going to be that way and also that way, so I won't get a true reading off that. So now, whenever the tube goes through, that bit is just sticking straight out anyway. So whilst all this was level, I just transferred it to the other end. The other thing I'm doing, can you see? I'm writing everything I'm doing on the tube. It's what I normally do, but then I can just look at it even when it's tacked on the bike. Oh, I know exactly what I did where and blah de blah de blah. Right, let's see if it fits. Right then, so I've left it a little bit longer up here, so I've got room to cope. That's going to be all right, isn't it? So it's slightly lower than this tube here, just so I get clearance for this bit of the engine, which it does clear. Runs lovely and parallel with that as well. A little bit off on the bottom, maybe, tiny bit. But we are looking good. We're looking really good, actually. So, is that going to come in? Yes, I would think. Right, I need to clamp this and then measure it. Oh, it looks like it's going to come up and hit that boss of trait, but it would be good to measure just to know. Right. Oh, I'm pleased with that so far. Right, what's the next bit? Right then, so that should be our end of bend, which it is. Lovely jubbly. Have I gone a little bit over? No, it is right. Okay, cool. So, next bit is going to be the bit going up to meet the swing arm pivot point. Around here somewhere. And we haven't figured that bit out. Awesome! What I think I'm probably going to end up doing, well, I'll get to that in a minute. I'm probably going to put the cope in here first, so I can get it offered up to the headstock and get it sitting where I want it to sit, so it's nice and flush up to it, and then I can clamp this in place. I can pack it out, clamp it to the jig, you know, I might even throw a tack on at the top or something just to keep it there. And then I can use the cheater. I don't know which one I'm going to be using. That one or that one. See, that ain't bad. Probably go with that one actually. Yeah, probably go with the bigger one. But what I can do, if I can clamp all this lot in place, then I can put the cheater over top of it like that with something flat underneath it, and a straight edge here to the end up to, you know, wherever the pivot point's going to be. So this will all be together sort of thing, and I can figure out the angle, mark it up, and jobs are good, and I reckon. Right, I just had a phone call from Sam. She's got one of them Ninja Foodie 9-in-1 cook all your dinner in like a heartbeat type jobbies. She's having a play today. We're having roast dinner, done in that. Takes ages to cook a roast normally. It's done already, so I need to chip off. And she needs to read the manual and see how long it takes to cook. And I'll be back tomorrow to get this done. Well, I'm back. Dinner was lovely. She needs to read the manual though. That thing cooks food awesome in like no time. But she's still playing with it and hasn't got a clue what she's doing. Right, I've been busy. I've just shoved, I mean these are only loose, but I need the frame tube to go straight between those two exhaust tubes, and I want it even as well. So I've been playing. I'll put my cope in the end. Where are you? Can you see? So I'll just cope the end just so it comes up to the steering stem. And we can have a go, because we should be pretty bloody close. Right, so he's going on there. That follows that line. And there's loads of clearance in between the exhausts, which is lovely. The cope's not bad either. And we are about 20 mil below that tube on the other side, which is what I wanted. So I reckon that is basically it. That is basically it. It is, isn't it? It is right between them as well, which is lovely. And it runs nice and horizontal here. It's nice and flat there. That, I believe, is it. So now I just need to bend this bit and get it up to there. Let me bring you around here and I'll show you what I'm doing. Right, you are perched in a very odd spot. You're sort of between the bench and the bike, which is, what, 3 feet. So you're on wide angle and it's probably going to throw everything else off. But if we shove this back up here. Right, you get in there. Stop beeping. He is going to land about like that. Like that. Like that. So we just clear the front of the engine and we've got a little bit more daylight under here. Oh god. You get the gist though, right? That's what it's going to look like. We've obviously got the sump to come on the bottom here. I want a little bit more room because I want to try and get the sump in as part and parcel of the engine because it's just going to be easier. But then I've also got that bit of the engine casing there and I've got to hook up to this bit and that bit. So we're going to need to have some sort of curve that comes around here that still gives me enough room to get it in and out of there, but still looks quite nice because then obviously it's got to marry up to this bit. So this tube is probably going to catch it's going to go kind of round the back of this, if that makes sense, and tie in just past centre point, and that way I can tacho this bit as well. just to brace everything up if I need to, which I'm probably going to anyway, just because it's safer. And then we can kind of carry that curve on up to this bit. That bit is straight, so I'm thinking like that, and then round and curved here, but I don't know quite how I'm going to do that bit yet. I think first thing is just get this up to there, and I'll worry about that later. If I need to shorten this up, I could do by chopping it here and putting a slug in and just moving it up. Which would obviously change the length of the back mounts, but it is definitely getting there. I'm quite chuffed with this for a first go. Right, let's have a go at this. Right, I've been mucking about for ages. Oh God! Right, up there it's just duct tape to the stem just to keep the coat where it is, because the whole thing kind of wants to do that. So I've got a bit of box section, a couple of clamps, another little clamp on it, just basically keeping this frame rail where it needs to be. It's smacking between those two exhausts, which is lovely. It is twisted out this way a little bit, but that's just because this block doesn't clear the jig. So it's like, I don't know, 1 degree out or something, which I'm not too fussed of. And I'm trying to figure out this back bit here. We've got that engine mount there. It is set inboard quite a long way. It is narrow and it is rounded at the bottom. And that one is also going to be removable, or was going to be removable. It is going to be removable. I've decided that bit. So now I'm just offering up these bits to see how I can hit that swing arm pivot point and clear that engine mount, and it's all a bit, it is close. It is very close. This is also going to need to join up to that top frame. It would be nice if this landed right in the middle of that. But I don't mind it being offset to the back a little bit, because I can put some reinforcing in around it as well. It's really awkward. But this is where a cheater comes in. So if I turn him around the right way, if I aim that cheater so it lands in the middle there, using, what is this, the big one or the little one? That's the big one. So 5.5 inch radius. I'll bring it down until it kind of touches with my box section, which is what the frame tube is sitting on. That is coming up 83-ish degrees, something like that. Yeah, 83 degrees. So if that's like that, come on, right, I reckon I could put a curve in there to join up with that straight bit of the frame. So let's mark this off to start off with. So it needs to start bending about there. That's where the bend absolutely needs to start. So on this one, it starts bending 5 mil after the point on the follower, so that'll put it about there. That's what I would need to line up. And then it is all got to be, it's going to have to be clocked at 7 degrees as well, isn't it? Right. Right, I've just had to, because now it's all trimmed up and everything, I've just had to like hold it up and chop it off so it goes in this gap. because I can't get it to fit in snug with that in the way. Everything is in the way. But this is genuinely first fit. I just kind of held it up, and with this bit still, it was obvious that it had to go. So right, you can get back on your mark there. There. Ease in. Oh yes. I ain't gonna get it much better than that. Hell no. Right, I'm gonna clamp this down and I'll get you a picture so you can see. Hang on. You stay in there. Go on. He's on his mark. That is not bad. Right. I am quite sure. It is really finicky. It is really fussy. Like properly fussy. But when a plan comes together, it is just the coolest thing. Let's... There we go. This boss obviously is, where's the other bit of tube? Where's the bit of tube I cut off? Right, so that's the bit that I trimmed off the end there. This boss, as you can see, is a little bit bigger, like that. There isn't that much in it. I don't know, what is this? 5mm difference, something like that. I'll put the picture up and you can see, but it goes pretty much smack in the middle of that boss where it's going to get coped on here. That's going to essentially go in there and the tube will come up and marry up to it. It's all nice and level. My cope is good at the headstock. And it does look good. It does look good. Right. Oh, what to do next? Right, this one should be a little bit easier to cope. So that's basically in the middle. About there. About there. What's that measurement? Yeah, it's about there. So that's bottom and top. We should put our centre line about there. Normal rule is about 2/3 tube distance is kind of where you want to cope it to. So our centre line is going to be about there-ish. So 2/3 distance down is there. So we'll just be coping it in a straight line down like that and down like that. That's what I need to chop off. So it'll just be an angle grinder that way and that way. I'm going to leave it a little bit shy, obviously, just because in case I cook it up, I don't want to have to go through all that lot again. That would be really bad. That doesn't look far off at all. So I'll leave it a little bit shy. Trim it all down, offer it up, and then I'll just kind of sneak up on it and get rid of the bits that I don't want and leave the bits that I do. Right, I've shoved my cope in this end and I'll put my boss back on. There's an awful lot of faffing about walking to and from, but I know it's not far. It's like 3 feet, but there is an awful lot of toing and throwing going on. Oh, that's looking all right. Oh, tangled up. Yes. Oh, I need to take out that inside edge on that coat just so it sits flat, but that is smack in the middle of the boss. That's my first frame rail. Look at that. Actually, it's not my first frame rail. That's my first frame rail that I cocked up. That runs lovely and straight. It's dead parallel with this. Spot on. I'm loving that. I'm loving this. Right, there is a huge amount of cocking about doing stuff like this. Massive, way more than I thought there was going to be. Oh, hello. I broke it. Oh no. It's alright, I've got a welder. Be fine, be fine. I was chatting with who was it? Matt. He sent me a message going, what the hell are you doing to start from scratch? And I could do. That would probably be the easier option. Why aren't you going? You just fell off on your own. You know, to start from scratch. And it's like, yeah, I'll get that. I'll do. And it probably would be easier. You really don't want to go on, do you? How about the other end? I've even got a headstock that Matey sent me with a V5 and everything else. But this is my first one. And I really want it to still look Bandit, which to me is when the tank is sitting on here, you've got these frame tubes here that kind of hug the underline of the tank. And I ain't got the tooling to do that. And at 350 quid a pop for a die, I ain't getting one either. Yes, I could get rid of them. I could make my life a hell of a lot easier and just give it a backbone or do like a feather bed frame or something like that. But I want it to look Bandit. I don't know why. It was a Bandit to start off with. I am quite pleased with how it's gone though. It's just the amount of time it took is way more than I thought it was going to be. Working everything out was easy enough until I turned this one the wrong way. This is the picture I showed Matt, and it comes out lovely and it follows that bend and straight between the exhaust and everything else, and then it disappears underneath the bench when we get to that bit. I will put a picture up. But now I've got my head around it and I know the bits to look out for. I am quite confident in doing the rest of it. The first bit is always hard. It's always tricky. It's like anything new, isn't it? But my method of working out where the bends need to be and how far they need to go and all that other stuff seems to be paying off. There's loads of different ways of bending tube, loads of different ways of working it out, and I'm sure you've all got your own way, but for me this seems to work. Just a combination of the cheater, so I can see where the bend starts and stops and how much material is needed on each degree, and you know, measuring the gaps in between. I can figure it out and I can make stuff fit. So I'm not that bad at tube bending. I'm not that quick, but I'm not that bad. That's come up all right. So anyway, I'm not tacking anything in place at the minute because I need to do this bit here next. I need to basically join that to that, which basically means chopping it on this straight bit up here where the seat frame used to be. Just that way I can shove a slug in there, cross drill it, plug weld it, so it ain't going anywhere and I've got something decent to get into. However, that means I'm not going to be able to get the bit that goes from there to there in if I tackle this in place. What I'm going to have to do is to take this boss off, well, sort that bit out, so yeah, I can just slide the tube in and it's all good and cushy. Then I'll take the boss out, slug it and everything else, then I can put the boss back in, because it should just slide in between the copes, then I can weld it in place. But I can't, you know, there's no point in tacking anything, because this is going to have to come off and on quite a few times probably, I would think. Don't know, I'm just making it up. But that's the plan anyway. This video is actually probably going to be quite short, and all I've done is bent up two bits of tube. It takes as long as it takes. I'll make no apology for it. I'm trying to do this properly and right. So that's where we are. But anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. I do hope you're well and staying safe. We will see you on the next one. Laters!